We'll get to some questions now, but if we miss some, then reach out, taking you up on your offer, Charles. Are you ready for some questions?
I am.
Good. Here's one. I don't really speak payment speak, so hopefully this tells you something. There was a question on, does Stripe support INR?
INR. That one's new to me as well. So
I thought it was just Greek to me. Maybe we can get them to clarify in the chat, or they can reach out to you on social media.
Is it a currency? If it's a currency, possibly. But yeah.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah. We could Google it. Yeah. Does Stripe have a plan to add modal payment options without going to other pages?
That's a good question. I don't, not to my knowledge. I think if you would like, in general, if you wanted to add a kind of like a modal approach, one thing that you could do is use the payment element. So that's a drop-in component, but it has a lot of the functionality that you see in checkout. So that's another option. It's also really simple and straightforward to add. If you're building a Vue 2 application, there's actually a drop-in component for the payment element. We plan to migrate it to, like, I've spoken with Joff, the maintainer of Vue Stripe, and he plans to migrate it to Vue 3 in the future. So that's what I would do if you want a modal.
I think that maybe you can elaborate a bit on that, because we had a question on, you mentioned Vue Stripe. So are there any other libraries available to quickly get a Vue.js project set up with Stripe?
So there are a variety of different ones. The most used one that I know of, and the one that is like a verified partner, is Vue Stripe. But in general, what I've seen is people either roll with Vue Stripe or they build their own components using Stripe's Stripe.js library on the front end.
Oh, cool. There were some variation of questions, so this is a bit more to the product of Stripe. Can Stripe handle variable amounts such as donations or tipping?
Yeah, absolutely. So with checkout, you can, if you have like a donations, you can set quantity to be a variable amounts, and I believe you can also set the amount to be variable. In general, but that would be mostly with like things like donations or tipping. In general, you don't want to have amounts vary on the client at the very least, because that kind of exposes you to potential issues of people changing the amounts. But for donations or tipping, you can totally do it. And there is also a client-side integration path. Server side has more functionality, but you could do stuff client side as well.
Cool. So you mentioned Express and such in the talk, but one question a bit more general to, like, I think, understand the possibilities here. Is it possible to integrate with Stripe completely from the front end, or do you relying on something like Express, also a server lambda function or something in the mix?
Yeah, so there is a front end integration path. I could actually show you kind of what that looks like via the docs from Vue Stripe. So Vue Stripe has a drop-in component where you could pass in pretty much what you saw I did on the back end, where I like had a Stripe price and quantity, and just do it entirely from the front end. So you can do that. But
okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's possible. The server integration has more features and functionality, but a front-end integration is something you can build if you want to.
I think we can round up with one last one. Sorry if you already covered this at the end of your talk, but the code that you covered in the talk, is it somewhere available in GitHub? Like, can people play around with it?
Absolutely. So if you want to find the code, go to my link tree, and you'll see a link for this talk. So it's, if I could show it again, it's a Linktree / Charles W_dev.
Absolutely, feel free to, but Charles_dev at Linktree. Sounds good. Cool. Then thanks again, Charles. It's a pity we didn't get to see you, but hopefully we can repeat that in the future. And I enjoyed watching your talk. And thanks for taking your time to be part of this.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Take care.
Take care.